Well, how about from a compliance perspective, Drew? What kind of controls exist that enable compliance organizations to be able to audit properly?
Yeah. So these controls start getting down into the individual channels and the individual chats. So the first thing to know is that you may need some barriers. So for example, if you have a part of your organization that's working on a joint venture, and maybe it's something that's a super secret project, you may want to put a barrier around that group so that those groups can communicate with each other, but other groups can't see their information. This may be information that they post as files. This could be group chats, team level chats, meeting notifications. So do know where your barriers are and where you need to protect information. The second part is around communication compliance, making sure that sensitive information that you need to keep over time, things where you have an internal or a regulatory requirement for that, or maybe you just want to make sure that in that space where you bring in your vendors and partners, you're being really careful about offensive language. And the last one being retention policies. So we'll look at a couple of the different policies here. Again, some of these policies are in Teams, some of these are in SharePoint, some of these are in Exchange. It's really important to consider that defense in depth as you build your strategy. So for meeting policies, I have the ability to, again, set some lockdowns. These lockdowns get more specific to my particular set of meetings or my particular set of channels. So for example, do we have a Meet Now button? Do we allow a meeting to be scheduled for a particular channel? Is audio and video turned on? Is content sharing available? And if so, we can sharing content, but maybe we don't give the ability for an external participant to take that over because we've got requirements from a compliance point of view that would limit our ability to do that. Participants and guests are pretty important. You want to consider which parts of your organization may have some sensitivity about starting a meeting. So there's different types of meetings. There's a meeting like I have inside my organization that has the boxes. There can also be, like this meeting, a live meeting where a couple of presenters are presenting to a very large group of audience. So what we want to make sure is that we consider the right matchup between these policies and the parts of our organization and the different security and audit and compliance requirements that are appropriate for that group. So there's settings for meeting policies, settings for individual meetings, so whether or not a person can join as an anonymous person. There are policies around live events, and for example, if you want to say nobody else can start recording the live event except for the host of the event, we can get permissions that will control that and then tie that information back to the individual people in the organization.